All right, we're now ready to begin the Duke Student Athlete Press Conference. I'd like to remind you once again to make certain that your phones are on mute, and we'll go ahead and open up for questions for the student athletes. Jacob, can we go front?
This is for Pat or Kaman. Baylor isn't the tallest team you guys will play all year. I think North Shadow Mirror is, 6'7". What have you guys seen on the scout of both on how to make your height advantage count, especially down low?
Come on, could you answer that question first?
They're another size team, so our size is our advantage, whether it's on the glass or on the defensive side, or whether playing defense and staying down on pump fakes and crushing the board. So our height, our size is our advantage.
Patrick, do you have anything to add?
Kind of like what Kaman said. Our size is our advantage, so yeah.
All right, any other questions for the student athletes? Go ahead, Jacob.
This question's for Sion, Chip Patterson, CBS Sports. If you were to assess what you've been able to bring to this roster, what do you think are some of the qualities that have really helped since you arrived?
Well, the good thing about my role here is that my role is to play with some of the best players in the country and trying to help them shine a little bit. So I feel like I have a really easy job with these two guys plus all the other guys we have on our team. My big role is to just do whatever is needed, whether it's scoring, whether it's oftentimes it's playmaking, like I said, getting these guys the ball in the best positions.
Other questions? Go back to David.
David Teal for the Virginian Pilot. I'm just curious as to what your first NCAA tournament experience was like last night.
And is there a particular player?
Yeah, any of them.
Let's see. Patrick, could you go first this time?
It was definitely like a dream come true. Just being able to watch the tournament growing up, and then yesterday, just being able to go out there and play with the March Madness on the court and the crowd and all that. It was just a special moment.
Sion, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, largely the same. Looking at the court and seeing the big March Madness logo in the middle, looking around, knowing my family's there to support me, and just knowing that I've been watching these games since I was a kid, and now being in the position is a really cool thing.
Common, do you have anything to add?
To me, it was exciting. It was really fun, especially doing it with a special group of guys, and being able to step on the floor and do it with them made it more exciting.
Go back up front, Jake.
Another question about the Baylor Scouts, Sion, this one's for you. Their backcourt's really athletic and long. You got VJ Edgecombe, and then you also got Rob Wright. Just kind of plans for handling that, maybe one of the more athletic guard rooms you'll see this year.
Very talented backcourt, those two specifically, plus all the other guys that got coming in, Broach and Nunn off the bench. Love that there as well. These guys can kind of do everything. They're very skilled. They're athletic in the paint. They can make shots. But like you said about our size is going to be one of our advantages, just like their speed and advantage for them. So we're going to try to negate what they do and highlight what we do.
Any other questions for the student? Let's go back to David.
Sion, you mentioned your role in helping others shine. Most athletes want themselves to shine. How did you come upon that selflessness, and is that something that's marked your career throughout?
It's something that I've kind of always leaned on as I've gone. Don't get me wrong, I want to look good, shine like everybody does. But I recognize one of the things that I'm best at is helping these other guys get their games off, get their games going. It's just, I can call it selflessness, sure, but it's really just me doing kind of what I do best, just like everyone else on the floor is doing.
Any other questions? All right, gentlemen, you're excused. Thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Scheyer is due here at 2:40. All right, we're a tad bit early, but we're going to go ahead and get this started. We're just going to open it up for questions. Let's just go right there, Jacob.
Rod Baxley, Fayetteville Observer. John, have you ever seen anybody dive on the floor as much as Con? And I mean, what is it about his way of doing things that just he's always in that mindset?
Yeah, he's up there for sure. I mean, the cool part, I was talking to Con about that earlier this season, and he was talking about growing up, his dad would never talk to him about scoring points, wouldn't talk about making shots. It would be about rebounding and taking charges. And obviously that lends itself to putting your body on the line. And he's got a knack for it. Just you feel when there's a scrum, you feel confident that Knipple is going to come up with the ball. And it's fun to coach guys like that. Jared had a very similar thing, McCain, where all those loose balls, broken plays, rebounds, and they're obviously the impact it has on winning is huge.
Go back there. Thank you, Ethan.
Roy Ogletree, KWTX. Coach, of course, y'all played last year against Baylor, but I was curious as to your memory of the game 15 years ago in the Elite Eight. What was your memory of that? Of course, you had a really good game on the court.
Oh, man. Probably the most important game I ever played in, to be honest. That was kind of the making of 4 years. And to get over the hump for us of getting to a Final Four, that was a special thing. And I remember Baylor had a great team. Tweety Carter, who's on staff for him. Tweety was a great guard. Darius Dunn, Epe Udo. You go down the line. They were huge. I mean, their front line was 6'10", 7 feet. And they played a zone. And I remember a couple plays. I remember we hit a few threes late. Lance Thomas got an offensive rebound, kicked it to Nolan Smith, hit a three. I hit one of them. I think Nolan had another just to put us up 6. And I just remember the whole game was back and forth. And it was such a high-level game. And, really, for me, it's the most memorable game I've probably played in because of the respect for those guys, how good they were, and then the nature of the game, just how it went down to the wire. So special memories.
Jacob, I'm not sure who had their hand up first, but those two gentlemen there are the next two questions.
Hey, John. Josh Graham, WSJS. With your playing days in mind, there was a viral clip this week of Patrick Beverly who said, I want to quote him right, you never duck any smoke, and he called you White Mike back in the day. Given your resume, are there times you have to remind today's players and recruits about your resume back at Duke?
They completely have disregarded the fact that I played at all. They think I did not play whatsoever. Isaiah last week, there's a picture of me in my playing days, black and white picture. He said it wasn't photoshopped at all. Like, that's the way it was. So I asked our guys a couple days ago to call me White Mike. They refused. They're just going to call me Coach. But that's nice of Pat to talk about me that way. I mean, for me, I take a lot of pride in the city of Chicago and going wherever there was a game. I would go there to play. So for him to talk about me that way, I'm not sure White Mike was the name, but I'll take it.
Okay, staying back there.
Coach, Brian Murphy with WRAL. As you put this team together, how much did you value versatility and depth? And as you've been tested here with injuries over the last couple weeks, how much do you think that will help you moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's a huge thing. And, of course, it's unfortunate. It's the third year in a row we haven't had our roster fully healthy, but that's part of it, unfortunately. And so you have to you try to be as well balanced as possible. You want to have depth wherever you can while still having. You don't want to have too much where you want guys feeling like they have a chance to play all the time and all that. But I think the biggest thing with this roster was the versatility and the competitiveness. We wanted guys that weren't afraid of fighting for playing time. We wanted versatility where we could really switch a lot on the defensive end. And, that's been a huge strength of ours, having the positional size and the versatility on defense.
Okay, second row right there.
Brett Friedlander, Saturday Night South. John, Jeremy said that when you guys decided that it was time for him to move on, that it was a mutual thing and it was best for both of you guys. How difficult, though, was that, given your relationship with him going all the way back to high school and the fact that he stayed after you took over and all?
Yeah, I mean, look, Jeremy, we've been through a lot together, and I was the first one. Are they good over there, or can they just? Thank you. Just with Jeremy, though, like I remember talking to him when he's 16, and he's, to me, we'll look back on his time at Duke, just being the connector with Coach K and myself in that transition, 4 amazing years. And so Jeremy and I have had a lot of just honest, great conversations through the years. And I think with the COVID year and guys having extra years of eligibility, these types of things can come up. And it was handled with love, honesty, and we just felt mutually both ways that it was the best thing for him and his career, and obviously, just where we had to go because of that. But, I've nothing but love for Jeremy, and our relationship is strong, and he'll be a Duke guy forever.
Okay, we're going back on this edge, and then after that, Ethan, all the way back.
Jesse Doherty from the Washington Post. John, Spencer has a really cool moment yesterday, and with some rule changes that are coming, his path could become maybe less and less likely, just going from practice squad to walk-on to scholarship. So I guess, do you hope that even with maybe those coming roster limits that you guys can try to maintain those kind of opportunities, even with the way the sport's changing in so many ways?
Yeah, you know what? It's something you may not think about all the time, but we've been really blessed with having an amazing scout team and having a guy like Spencer who truly, you can ask our players, nobody likes to guard Spencer in practice. And he gives us quickness, toughness, and then when he comes in the game, he has the best points per possession on anybody on our team, the way he scores and does all that. But his attitude, he's been so unselfish. He came during a hard time, or it's COVID, so we didn't add anybody to the roster. So he was a practice player. And then he made it pretty clear he had to be on the team. He was just too impactful with what he did. But he's had an amazing attitude. He didn't know if he was going to come back for his 5th year. I wanted him back. I'm glad he made that decision. And obviously, to think about the moments he's had this year, it's been pretty special to think about.
Okay, all the way in the back.
David Teal with the Virginia Pilot. Jon Scheyer was in earlier, and when asked about his role, the first thing he said was to let others shine and help them do that. Most coaches want that, and it makes them smile, but how do you know, especially when you're recruiting the portal in such a short period of time, that that's what you are indeed getting?
You don't fully know. You're praying, you're guessing a little bit, and you try to really do your homework in a short period of time, and you think to the best of your ability. But that's something I think for us, we really prioritized this offseason. Like, we really prioritized that with the guys we went after, and everything we heard with Malik Mason. Obviously, your question is about Scheyer. Everything we heard about Scheyer was really exactly what we were looking for. And I think you can, as a guy in the transfer portal, you can look at your decision of where you go a bunch of different ways. You can think about just getting the most shots and minutes, or you can, if you have a chance to play in the NBA, I felt like this opportunity for Scheyer would put him in the best light because it really replicates what he'd be asked to do at the next level. So for him to have that maturity and understanding of how he can make an impact without just scoring, and he's scored for us too, but it goes way beyond the scoring. It's been a luxury to have as a coach. And I've asked him to do a lot of different things, guard every position, bring the ball up, screen, cut, shoot, pass, and there's no feelings with it. It's whatever you need. And that's, in this day and age, to have a guy like that in his position has been an honor, to coach that.
Okay, on the edge, Jacob.
Hey, John, Josh again. We got the news that Ryan Odom's officially the coach at Virginia. It seems that all the empty vacancies have been filled. You obviously know the guy at Miami pretty well. You played against Luke Laux at Florida State. What relationships do you have with Luke, with Coach Odom, and even Will Wade, who seems to be State's guy?
I've known Luke for some time. Obviously, I know Jay. That wasn't your question. I haven't really crossed paths with Will, Ryan. Looking forward to in the spring, though. I think it's really good hires for our league with where we need to go, and the response our league has to have next year and moving forward. But I can't say that I've had, a lot of interaction with those guys. But I think it's great for our league, and looking forward to meeting those guys.
Okay, go ahead back there, Jacob.
Kyle Nash, CBB Review. Do you think Spencer will become the next Duke great to become an assistant coach and maybe work his way into coaching?
Let's go one step at a time with Spence. Yeah, let's see about winning tomorrow, and then we'll go from there.
Jacob up here.
Connor O'Neill with Devils Illustrated. John, VJ was obviously a big part of your recruiting plans in the class that is a freshman class. What's it like to scout him now as an opposition, and what have you seen from him in this year and the growth that you probably at one point thought he would have with you, and now you're facing him?
Yeah, VJ, getting to know him in the recruiting process, great kid, loved his family, the whole thing. He's had, I think the thing you've seen with him, just how his game is grown throughout the whole year with his offensive skill. He's always had it, but there's always an adjustment in college with how to get your shots off, attack the basket, and make the different reads. His athleticism, I think, stands out, of course. I think that speaks for itself. Everybody can see that. But his feel for the game, his passing, and his shot creation. But VJ's been a great player to be their leading scorer in the Big 12, and he's getting everybody's best shot every night. I think he's had a great year. A ton of respect for him, and he's going to be, a difficult matchup tomorrow. You have to do your best to keep him away from the basket, but he makes it hard on you. He does a great job getting there.
Okay, we'll go back to David in the back, and then come up 2 rows after that, Ethan.
John, you mentioned parenthetically when answering a previous question about where the ACC needs to go moving forward. Does it bother you to be the last team standing? And this is the first time in the expansion tournament era that only one ACC squad is in the final 32.
I take, obviously I'm aware of everything that's happening, and I take, notes along the way of where we're at and what we have to do, but does it bother me? No, because we're playing to go to a Sweet 16 tomorrow, and so that's where my focus and energy is. But there's no question for me after the season. I think we need to continue to, I want to help however I can, in terms of, the direction of our league moving forward. But at the end of the day, I think this is a unique time. I think the ACC is going to bounce back, and I think the hirings of these new coaches, it's going to help a lot. But for me, I don't spend my energy while we're making a run about what any other team is doing, whether it's in the league or not. And as long as we're winning and advancing, that's where my focus and energy is going to be right now.
Okay, we're back on this edge.
Yeah, sorry if you were asked something like this. I missed the first question. But with the tallest team in the country, how much do you specifically focus on length and height, and maybe specifically with your guards and kind of smaller forwards when you're recruiting and looking at the portal?
Yeah, well, look, honestly, I think this team is kind of a combination of year one for me and year two. Year one, we were really long, big, couldn't really score as well as the typical team that we've coached. Year two, we could really score, but we were undersized, and so for us, there's a clear vision to me and a plan of how we were going to put together this team. Starting with Cooper, when you have him and his versatility, it allows you to do other things maybe you couldn't do with the roster. But for us going forward, I can tell you for next year, that's going to be the same vision we have of putting together a team that has great positional size, great versatility, great skill in shooting. But that's kind of the makeup, although, look, we have some unique guys you're not going to get every year. But I feel we have some guys coming in next year that are very unique. And going forward, that's going to be the profile of how we try to put together a team.
Any other questions? All right, go back to David.
You guys have coached against Norshad Omier several times over the years. How has his game evolved this season now that he's been at Baylor?
Well, I think it's more the same in terms of, look, he was putting up crazy numbers at Miami. He was a handful there, and he's a handful now. He's as good of a rebounder to me as there is in college. He's got great touch around the basket. He's putting the ball on the floor maybe a little bit more than he did in Miami from the perimeter. So, one-on-one defense against him is important. And then, he's basically playing the whole game. So, it's not like there's any break from guarding him. Like he's doing everything for their team. But I think his rebounding is high level. And his game is just continuing to grow in terms of putting the ball on the floor, shooting occasional threes. But he was a force then, and he's a force now.
Okay, over by the curtain.
Coach, both Isaiah and Con have talked to me about how, playing this close to home, you don't have to commute, you don't have to take a flight, you get, extra rest, all that sort of thing. In terms of the crowd, though, being able to play this close to home and effectively have a building 80-90% in your favor, how rare is that and how important is it in knockout settings?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not getting on a plane was great. It's a little bit of a strange feeling, to be honest. You feel like you're away from home, but you're, 25 minutes, 30 minutes from campus, and it's a different feeling. But I wanted our guys to feel the tournament atmosphere. That's why, we're staying here and all that. I thought the crowd was awesome yesterday. Great turnout, great response. I hope it's the same tomorrow. But at the end of the day, that doesn't get you any points. It doesn't get you any stops. The most important thing is our mindset and attitude. But we love seeing our fans show up and support us. It means a lot to us and to me for sure.
Any other questions? All right, Coach, thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.